Boom! An episode of Doctor Who? Is it another topic discussion? I think so. Let's talk about it! Hello guys, my name is Eddie, and of course we're talking about the latest episode of Doctor Who Series 1, Episode 3. A brilliant episode written by Stephen Moffat is created for us, and it was entitled Boom! A fantastic, absolutely fantastic whole show that you could never imagine. If you want to watch Doctor Who and you want to watch it from the perspective of someone like me who loves Doctor Who and loves the way that Doctor Who was when they first started watching it over 15 odd years ago, then this is the episode to watch. Boom was fantastic. First of all, there was no fourth wall breaks. Breaking the fourth wall where you're staring at the camera lens just ruins the whole aspect of Doctor Who. In all honesty, I don't like it when you're staring at the lens. If you're staring at a character and then all of a sudden you stare at the lens, it just doesn't make sense. So I'm very glad to see that gone. The other thing as well that was just superb was the way the episode was written, in the fact that they didn't have to use many different sets or places to record for this episode, because it was all done in one single place. It made so much more sense. So when it came to creating the whole of the Doctor Who episode, I was really pleased with the way the episode was created. The way the tension was being grabbed from the moment the episode starts in the cold open was fantastic. That way that it just showed you how the Doctor was involved in it and how he got himself stood on that landmine, which was superb. And then you cut to the beginning titles. Superb. Loved it. Absolutely superb. That's how a Doctor Who episode should start. We then come out of the titles where Ruby comes out the TARDIS trying to look for the Doctor after being told to wait, and of course she's being defiant, which is what we know a companion to do most of the time. They never listen to the Doctor apart from probably when they've been told to run, and she is then told to be very careful where you tread. All of this time he's also singing very calmly in a what he classes as Zen mode for standing on a landmine, and he basically tells Ruby to be quiet, to look where she treads and just tread very carefully and approach and try and describe the land. Turns out the landmine is not fully ready activated, but it's in the last couple of process before it explodes and goes off. He describes the landmine and he works out that it's a landmine that he's seen in the past, and that unfortunately he's had to defuse one of these before, which I don't even remember that episode, so maybe it's in the classic era of Doctor Who. Maybe it's something I should go and watch at the very end of this series of Doctor Who that I'm up to, so that way you get more Doctor Who content. If you want to see that, leave a like and let me know in the comments down below. When it came to Doctor Who and creating these content, it was fantastic. Just going to say, absolutely fantastic, superb. Geronimo, any type of Doctor Who words I can say that just generate the fantasticness of the episode. Superb. Fantastic. We get the tension of, will this explode? He works out that the explosion isn't actually the device itself, but is actually the person who treads on it. They become the explosion, and he also tells people that if he was to explode, it wouldn't just explode him, which is what the mine is set to do, but it will actually explode about half of the planet that they happen to be on. I think it was Kaspersky 3, I think was the place. Either way, it was fantastic. They were actually fighting no one, unless they were actually fighting themselves with AI, artificial intelligence. Bringing that type of way of thinking, especially with AI expanding in the universe and around us, having a way to see exactly what would happen if you let AI take control, and seeing that it would just give enough that you want to keep the war going because you think that death is happening all the time, but you don't really trust it all the time, and that's why the war is constantly going, when really you're just fighting yourself, or you're fighting the code that you put into the AI. And the fact the AI was able to fight back and try and defend itself, that's scary. That's a scary inner thought that most people who create AI and in the technology industry, and also boomers and people who are really old and just don't understand AI, this is a lot of people's fears. So having this come into a Doctor Who episode, fantastic writing. Now, majority of the episode, the Doctor is standing on a landmine. Well, he's not even standing on a landmine. He's got 1 foot up and 1 foot down on the landmine. He asks Ruby to go and find an object that is heavy in weight so he can counterbalance it when he puts his foot on the floor. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it doesn't measure him as a life form that can blow up, if that makes sense. Which, okay, it did. Now, this item that was handed to him happened to be the soul or the body of the human remains of the person who was just recently blown up, which was screaming at the very beginning, which enticed the Doctor to go near. This whole thing where the Doctor basically finds this whole casket of basically items was superb. Some people have said this item should have been sticky or gooey or anything else. However, yes, it should have been sticky or gooey if the casket was open. But the casket wasn't open. It was wrapped in plastic, and probably inside would have been sticky and gooey and disgusting. But I don't think it needed to be disgusting and sticky and gooey all the time around the specific item. That would make no sense, because why would it have a lid? Why would it have the name of the person and the reason for dying, which was blindness? You can't really die from blindness, apart from this is a person who just died from blindness in Doctor Who. The episode was fantastically written and directed in the way that you wouldn't believe that the whole episode was in one single area, and didn't feel so claustrophobic that you just felt surrounded, that it was in one little small room. The way the producer of the episode used different methods of filming, such as some close-up shots, far-away shots, the way they used some 3D wall images, which is they were doing with an LED wall that allows the background to move at the same time as the creator. Basically, it tracks towards the camera with some dots on side, and the way they were using that was superb. I didn't actually think that this wasn't being done in one single location multiple times. Instead, it was just being shot in one location. Okay, the crater itself was shot in one location, and so was the base camp, but apart from that, all the rest of the shots were done using this 3D imaging wall in a studio without too much visual effects, because the actors were able to react to what they were able to see in real life. It made more sense. They were able to react to what they were seeing rather than imagine what they're reacting to be then later on replaced by a green screen, because trying to do that can be hard. And I give credits to all the actors of this episode. They did a fantastic job. Even the stunt doubles did a fantastic job to make it feel real. It was just crazy. And it was superb. I can't explain how much I really enjoyed this episode and how I wish Doctor Who would stay like this throughout the whole of the next couple of episodes. Stephen Moffat isn't the executive producer for the whole of the Doctor Who series. He was during his series of showrunner. Unfortunately, that's now passed back over to Russell T Davies, which hopefully Russell T Davies will take on the hints from this episode, knowing that majority of the Doctor Who fans understood it and will then get better in later episodes. I understand season 1 is basically shot and filmed and edited and uploaded, ready to be released, but when it comes to season 2, I hope he doesn't break so many fourth walls. I hope he uses the camera techniques with the producer that was using for today's shot in the way that it's done, because the way this episode was felt like Doctor Who. It felt like I was there, and it felt like I was immersed. I didn't feel like the immersion breaking stuff was there. It was an episode that made you come to tears when Ruby fell down the thing after being shot multiple times, and the fact she was going to die. And of course this would upset the Doctor, and this would of course make the mind to explode before the AI is overcome by parenthood. Parenthood overcome everything that was coded in AI and was able to overcome the whole of the Doctor and the whole of the really bad scenario that could have happened within a couple of seconds. Probably if it was only microseconds later, the Parenthood couldn't have won, but it did, and it was fantastic. And as soon as the Doctor is released from that mine, the motion, you can see the joy, you can see the excitement, you can see the movement. It was fantastic. I'd love to know how many times I've said it. Let me know down in the comments down below. What was your thoughts on this episode? Did you think this episode of Boom was fantastic and superb, just like me? Or did you think there were some things that could have been fixed? Did you think some things could have been changed? When I was watching Who Culture, a fantastic channel, I'll link them up in the cards, they said that they weren't too impressed with the child actor who was on set, because she was going, I want my daddy, I want my daddy, I just want my daddy. That's the statement that this child actor was having to say. This is what she was given as lines. And Who Culture said this didn't really sell well because it didn't feel like it was going out well, when really it was. I just would say that the actress who played the young girl Splice was superb. You know, I think she did a good job for what she was cast to do. However, I think the casting director was more at fault in regards to not giving a younger aged actress to take on the actress of Splice, because the writing made it seem like she was a lot younger than what she appeared to be. Now, that I do agree with you, Hugh Culture. It just didn't seem right. I do think that the actress is not at fault for that, but the casting director for this episode didn't get that exactly bang on the mark. Oh, and did you know, in this episode, we got to see the brand new companion for season 2, Monday. She was in this episode. That raises so many questions, like, how is she going to get involved? What's going to happen? Is he going to revisit again, which he did say he was going to do? Why does she become the next companion in series 2? Why is she in there? What's happening? The questions that came out of my mind at that time was superb when I found that out watching the behind the scenes and the catch-ups and everything else that I watched on BBC 3 at the end of the episode. My overall review of Boom. A fantastic, superb episode that gives it a great big whopping thumbs up. Just like you should do to this video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.